Hello everybody, Zach here for a raw vegan food preparation video. I had a couple of requests to show how to prepare nut butter, and it is the simplest thing that you can do, or another competing preparation for the title of simplest raw vegan food preparation. Anyhow, excuse me. Today I will be working with Brazil nuts. So all you need is nuts. You don't need any other additive. I've got 4 cups here of organic raw Brazil nuts, and I've got a food processor. And the cool thing about this preparation is that you don't need any fancy equipment. It actually works better in a cheap food processor than it does in the Vitamix from my experience. I've made nut butters using the Vitamix and also using high-end juicers where you can press nuts through them. And I've gotten the best results in cheap food processors. So anyways, we'll show you how to do this. You want to make sure you don't exceed the maximum fill line on the food processor. But I'm well below that on this. So we're going to throw these in here. The only really tricky part of this is it's rather time consuming. If you don't mind it being heated, you could probably just turn it on and leave it for a long time, half an hour or 40 minutes, and you could get the results from that. But I'm going to process it for a little while and then let it cool for a little while in sequence in order to minimize the amount of heat, because that heat is going to damage the enzymes, the nutrients, the minerals, and the omega acids and anything else that's healthy in the nuts. So I'm going to try to keep it raw. So I'm going to pulse it a few times first to get them broken up evenly, and then I'm going to run it, and I'm going to run the food processor for about as long as it takes to start getting warm, and I'll take the lid off and test the heat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the refrigerator and let it cool for a few minutes. I'll keep track of the timing, and then I'll cut the video off and start it back up when I'm processing again, to avoid the having a 2-hour video with most of it being just waiting. So here we go. Need to plug it in. Alright, I've got a pretty good flour consistency there, so I'm going to go ahead and run it on for a good minute or so here. When you're running a food processor, they should, the mechanism that grinds is contained by the lid of it, so you can actually move it around while it's running. That's kind of a trick to be able to get the most use out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and shake it around a little bit while it's going. Now, as you do this, you'll start to see the oils building up. This was dry before, and now you can see it kicking up against the edges. So it's definitely a good sign that we're making progress. It's getting, it looks almost like a cookie batter or something consistency now. So I'm going to take a spoon and make sure to get it off of the edges thoroughly. This is the really time-consuming part of it. It's just we got to regularly check on it. We got to scrape it off the edges. The shaking trick is kind of nice to keep it all piling towards the center, but you're still going to get it caked to the edges, especially when the oils start really coming out. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and stir it up a little bit here, check the temperature. Not really much going on with temperature yet. So go ahead and grind it again. these Brazil nuts really have a lot of oil in it. I'm surprised. I've never done it with Brazil nuts. Wow, we're already almost getting, it's already resembling a nut butter. I've never had it do it this fast with any other nut. Starting to get a little bit warm, but we're still totally fine. I'm going to show you guys when the temperature reached the peak. Yeah, we'll run it for a little bit more, see what else it does. A little bit more heat here. It's looking like the Brazil is going to actually process significantly faster. I did this with coconut flakes last week and posted some pictures of the result there. And the coconut flakes took forever to get them to this liquidy state. I mean, the Brazil nuts, it looks like I'll probably have this done within a half an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and keep running it, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it cool, and I'll come back and show you guys when I've made a little bit of progress. But what I really want to emphasize is that, like, it seems like everybody loves nut butters. You know, peanut butter, almost everybody grew up eating. Peanuts don't really digest as good as a lot of other nuts. So a lot of companies are starting to offer a variety of nut butters, commercially prepared almond butter, cashew butter, things like that. And yeah, I mean, they're great. You know, when you buy them from the store, they're really tasty. But if you want to get the raw, organic stuff from the store, you're talking about a trip to Whole Foods for a jar this big. You know, costs probably $20. Like, no joke. It's insane. And this stuff can be prepared at home so simply. So you buy yourself some high quality organic raw nuts that are a good flavor, you know, test to make sure you're getting good stuff. And then just go ahead and grind it up. And I've never had anything as good in any of the jars, even the little $20 raw organic jars, that are as good as what you can make at home. So there's really no reason to not prepare this yourselves. So I will be back in a little bit, and I will show you guys what I have come up with. All right. Hey, guys. I ran the processor for probably 4 minutes, 5 minutes, right until it started getting slightly warmer than my finger. That's kind of the easy test to keep your foods raw. If the body is, you know, approximately 98.6 degrees, if you touch something and it feels slightly warm, obviously it's a little bit warmer than the temperature of your body. So you don't want it to be hot feeling, or else you're going well over 110 or something like that, obviously. But after 4 minutes of blending, and then I left it sit in the fridge for probably 5 minutes to get cold, this is what I'm left with. A totally gooey, liquidy consistency. This could be put into a jar right now, and this would be definitely a legitimate nut butter, but more towards the slightly crunchy side. I'm going to go ahead and blend it up even more right now and see if I can get it even more fine. So I'm going to come back in a little bit and show you guys the final result. Hey again, guys. I have run it for 2 more cycles of about 5 minutes each to where it started getting warm, and I refrigerated it in between. So this whole process has gone on for probably an hour or so. I refrigerated for, you know, maybe 15 minutes or something. And I just got done running it the last time, and I'm at a very gooey, liquidy consistency. There's still little bits of particulate matter, but it's not very significant, so I'm going to go ahead and call it done here. Now, when I did it with coconut flakes, it took a lot longer, and it required a lot more scraping the edges. The Brazil nuts, I'm blown away. I got some pretty high-quality ones online. They're really fresh and oily, so I'm guessing that played a big factor. But depending on what nut you use, you might have to be a lot more adamant about stirring it and everything, so... the recipe is the same for any nut, though. You really just process it for a long time. So I'll go ahead and pour this into here, and you guys can see what it looks like. I hope it doesn't spill everywhere. That is a really runny, good consistency. Now, once I put it in the cabinet, it will firm up a little bit. I'm not sure how firm. The coconut butter now I have to like carve into it, which is a little bit annoying. But I could also throw it in the dehydrator for a few minutes and it'll get nice and runny again. And the same applies with this Brazil nut butter. But that is a glorious consistency. All the oils have been released from it, so it's really, really good. So I'm excited about this. This was, like I said, 5 cups of nuts and came out to a large jar of organic raw Brazil nut butter. This in the store, oh my goodness, a jar this big, this would be $30, $40, maybe $50. I mean, it's crazy how much they sell it per fluid ounce for. So this is quite a blessing to just prepare it myself and be able to have something like this on hand. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys make yourselves some tasty and healthy raw organic nut butters.